I'm curious, when was the last time you felt sharp? Not just awake, actually sharp. And you know that feeling when things just clicked, you are on form. Because a lot of the men I speak to can't quite remember when that was. They put it down to age, maybe stress, and they just accept it. Because what else are you going to do? My name is Adam. I'm a performance nutritionist with a master's in performance nutrition. I've helped over 200 men lose fat and significantly improve their health. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is something most doctors will not mention. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. I had a client, let's call him Marcus. He was in his late 40s. He was a senior manager. He came to me wanting to lose his belly fat, just the standard stuff, really. And about 6 weeks in, we had a conversation that shifted something for him. He said, I was feeling like I was getting stupider at work. I used to be the quickest guy in a room. He assumed it was stress and maybe just age. He had more or less just accepted that was the way it was going to be. I told him it wasn't either of those things, and he hadn't lost his edge. He just stopped doing the thing that kept it. You're going to think I've lost the plot. But when I tell you to lift weights, and specifically when you get stronger over time, your muscles release signaling molecules that cross the brain. They support learning, memory, and your brain's ability to adapt and rewire itself. We're not talking cardio and not walking as much as I love walking, lifting. That's what the research actually points to. And the flip side is where it gets uncomfortable. The research consistently shows that weaker men experience faster cognitive decline. So they're not just feeling slower. Their brains are aging faster structurally. And fat that accumulates inside the muscle tissue, not just around it, inside it, that predicts faster cognitive decline, even when you account for everything else. So Marcus flipped the script. He stopped seeing training as vanity and started seeing it as necessary. This completely changed his results. And most men think of muscle as a vanity thing, something that matters when you're young and stops mattering when life gets in the way. That's just backwards. After 30, your muscle becomes one of the most important organs in your body for keeping your brain functional. I spent years thinking I was someone who just didn't need much sleep. I drank almost every Friday and Saturday. I went hard and told myself it helped me unwind. Then I sat at a desk all week, trained just 3 times a week, thinking I had balanced things out. At the time, it felt normal, just like I was getting on with it, like most men do. But stack that up over the months and the years, and they create the exact conditions that drive muscle loss, fat accumulation, poor sleep, and inflammation. Everything that pushes your brain aging forward. The frustrating thing about brain aging is it doesn't announce itself. It's not one bad decision, but it's the accumulation of the ordinary ones. And here are the most common I see. The first is losing strength without even noticing. After 30, most men lose muscle every year if they're not actively doing something to keep it. Sure, walking is useful, it's great to play a sport, but neither of those sends a signal your brain needs. I see men who genuinely believe they're active, and they are, but they haven't done anything that challenges their muscles in years. Their brain is paying for that. The second is your slow drift in body composition, the weight you gain over the years. The belt moves out one notch and your trousers feel more snug. Then you tell yourself you'll sort things out when things settle down. But excess body fat, particularly as you're losing muscle, directly worsens your metabolic health and accelerates cognitive decline. And the third is sleeping badly and calling it fine. When you sleep, your brain runs what I can only describe or think of as a cleaning cycle. It clears out metabolic waste that builds up over the course of the day. And if you miss this process enough nights, it accumulates. And the thing men don't want to hear, alcohol plays a large part in whether their sleep is good or poor, even when they feel like they sleep fine. You might get to sleep, stay asleep, but it's not real, good quality, deep sleep. Your brain doesn't get to do what it needs to do. And the fourth is sitting all week and punishing yourself at the weekend. you're at the desk all day with minimal movement. Then stack chronic low-grade stress. Your brain needs consistency, not compensation. The pattern keeps cortisol elevated, keeps blood sugar dysregulated, and keeps your brain in a state it can't properly recover from. I worked with a client. He was 52, used to play semi-pro tennis. He hadn't trained seriously in about 8 years. Then we started twice a week to build that habit back. By month 3, he was hitting numbers he hadn't seen in his 40s, even 30s from what he could remember. 6 months in, he said to me, I don't know what's happening, but I haven't felt this switched on since my 30s. He assumed it was a weight loss. And yes, some of it was. But the training was doing something specific to his brain that weight loss alone wouldn't have done. And the amount you have to do actually surprises most people. The research says it needs to look like maybe 2 to 4 strength training sessions per week, lasting 45 to 60 minutes. And you want to focus on compound movements, getting stronger over time, not sore and exhausted, but stronger. Because it's the progressive strength gains themselves that correlate with better cognitive performance and slower brain aging. Not just showing up, but actually improving. And structure your sessions around push, pull, squat, and hinge patterns for the most part. And yeah, if you're doing those patterns, you're covering what matters. I spent years eating almost nothing during the day and piling most of my food into the evening. And it turns out that was messing me up. Training gets you most of the way, but what you eat determines whether you actually stick to the training and whether your brain gets what it needs on top of that. The 3 things that I found that matter the most are 3 to 4 meals a day, each with a solid protein source. You don't want to be chasing your protein in the evening and completely miss your target. It's far more effective than just eating 1 meal or 2 meals, in my opinion. And a higher protein intake is also linked to better working memory, sharper focus, and faster processing through improved blood flow to the brain and better neurotransmitter production. See, it's not just about muscle and the food quality, not just the pattern. You want to be eating healthy most of the time. Men who eat more vegetables, whole grains, fish, and legumes, and also fewer ultra-processed foods, they retain their brain volume and perform better cognitively as they age. We are not talking about some crazy Brian Johnson hack. This is about what you do majority of the time, what your majority of the week looks like. One good day doesn't move the needle. The pattern does. Blood sugar is again more important than most people realize. Insulin resistance is closely linked, well, so closely linked to cognitive decline that some researchers actually call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. That's how significant the connection is. Strength training improves your insulin sensitivity considerably. On the food side, adequate protein, fiber, whole foods, they all keep your blood sugar levels stable across the day. This means less variation, less crashing, and less of that mid-afternoon inability to think straight. And now look, alcohol. I'll be straight with you. I used to drink a lot. I'm not going to hide that. And honestly, part of me still misses it. But I can't unknow what I know now. Regular alcohol use is associated with structural changes in the brain, particularly in the frontal cortex. That's the part that's responsible for decision making and impulse control. And it also disrupts sleep big time. But I'm not here to lecture you. I'm here to tell you that the cost is real and most men have no idea what they're paying for it. And one more thing that probably doesn't sound like it belongs here, but it does. Loneliness accelerates every single thing I just described. The research on this is unambiguous. Isolation changes your stress hormones, your inflammatory markers, and your sleep quality. Look, I work from home, and for the most part, I didn't have Penny, my cat. She's sleeping now, but she will make an appearance. But I signed up for improv, and I have regular horror nights with my really good friend Sam. So I recommend joining a social club, doing whatever you can to mix with people. Yes, this was a bit of a different topic, but I found it really interesting to dive deep into the research, so I wanted to share it with you. And if this landed in any way, shape, or form, hit subscribe and watch this video next. I'll see you there.